look, it's morning. How lovely. So I'm trying to do the Mages Guild quests, but they're broken because I haven't done the main quest. I haven't even started it. So oh, these just oh, they just spawn. No, whatever. At any rate, me and fucking Zorhar, we're we're gonna go do some Riverwood quests. Yay! I've just clipped out of the armor that's over there. Before we get moving, now that it's morning, I'm gonna just grab my sword and my armor, and we're just gonna done diddly get the fuck out of here. Anyway, I need all of this. Wonderful. All right. I did want to talk about some stuff that I had stumbled on. As far as lore, it's pretty deep. As it turns out, the Thalmor in this game are actually trying to destroy the world, which is something you wouldn't get from this fucking game. There's some deep fucking lore that we're gonna get into. You see all these fucking quest markers? Jesus Christ. Let me just go in and turn all that shit off because we're gonna get hella fucking confused. Hold on. So, I was talking about creation myths and stuff yesterday. Um, which I mean, I say myths, but in this game, it's what science fact basically. And so I stumbled upon in my reading because I was going back over my book and my notes. I had noticed that there was a problem with a handful of the towers in these games that seem to all be going on. Now, a tower is not necessarily an actual physical structure that looks like, it's not square or rectangular or it doesn't necessarily have to have Euclidean geometry. That's what I'm getting at. So, for example, the Snowthroat Tower is actually the throat of the world, aka High Hrothgar. You're actually looking at the Tower of Skyrim right there. Now there are in all 8 towers. Four of which are destroyed. Red Mountain, destroyed or inactive. So Red Mountain is one of them, and it's destroyed. And the White Gold Tower, the stone that gives it, like the towers are a conduit for power that comes from a stone, and a stone is not necessarily a stone. It can be a person, it can be an object. It's like it could be basically anything. So there's only one stone and one tower that we know are active, and it's in High Rock, and it's in the Adamantine Tower. And the stone is an actual physical stone, and it's a symbol of the is it called a conference or hold on, I just gotta double check. Oh, I've been sorry, I'm down the fucking rabbit hole. I gotta go back and look. Let's see. It's in here somewhere. For fuck's sake. I'm in continents. Where is the Elma Fae? Aldmaris. Fucking phone as well. Zero Stone, the convention. That's what it's called. It was the convention of the Daedra to decide the punishment of Lorcan for tricking them into creating Mundus. So, I wish I had a good way to visually demonstrate what's going on here. The fact that this game does not have an orrery is confusing. But, in lack of an orrery, this game does actually have a general glimpse of the universe. This right here, all of this, represents the whole of Mundus. The only thing that it's not showing in here are the two moons, Master and Segunda, and the, I believe it's, I can't remember if it's 8 or 9 planets, because I think there's 9 planets in the sky.
Good day.
But I don't think you can see them, per se. At any rate,
Good morning.
when the world was created, there
Good day.
was one tower built that helped separate Mundus from Nirn, and Aetherius, and Oblivion. The first tower that was created was, it's called a lot of things. It's called the Adamantine Tower. It's called the Dureni Tower. But at any rate, it's the tower that exists in High Rock, and it's actually sort of this shaped, which is weird. Even I think the bridge work is like fucking cobblestone and everything, but I can't quite remember. You can see it in Elder Scrolls Online. It's in High Rock. It's said to be the oldest building on the planet. No, that's the inn. Should be a trader around here. At any rate,
Out of my way, stranger.
so basically, the Thalmor, or the Thalmor, depending on your pronunciation, come from a long line of elves called the Altmer, or the Aldmer. Well, the Altmer were the Aldmer before they came to Nirn. Then the Aldmer lived on a planet called El Nofay. El Nofay fell to Earth after the convention of the Adamantine Tower and the creation of the Zero Stone, which is the power stone that the White Gold Tower uses as a conduit to separate basically what would be called in Christendom the firmament from the earth.
The Riverwood Trader. The Riverwood
So-
Trader is everything you need in a general store.
Like, when the world was created, it was just a big sphere of water.
Yeah, we did.
And
have a bit of a break.
the first thing that ended up here was the Heart of Lorcan, because that was well, actually, I think technically
An ornament, solid gold,
the
and
tower
a
was the
dragon's
first thing
claw.
built, and the land spawned up around it. And they went to the top of the tower, and Oriel, a.k.a. Akatosh,
Got some coin coming in from my last shipment. It's yours. if you
with the
bring
help
my
of
claw
Trinimac,
back.
the god of war, now known as
You
Malakath,
should head to Bleak Falls
um,
Barrow, northeast of town.
he was one of the Aedra. He became a Daedra later on
Now you
after
don't
he
have
was
to go,
eaten
do
and
you?
shit out by Boethia, which is a real thing in this game.
The sooner you find the claw, the sooner our lives can. No,
And
Bleak Falls Barrow is just outside of town.
only to
I
the
can
edge
show
of
you.
town.
Trinimac cuts fucking Lorcan in half,
We have to go through town.
and that becomes the two moons of Nirn, known as Master and Segunda, which you can see pretty much all the time at night, with some exception, but not much. Did he stay inside of my house? Okay, I guess we're going alone. Um, Conjuration. Where's my trio? Maybe a familiar trio. What's this all about? I have a warhound, a wolf, and a dragon familiar. Wonderful. Anyway, so Ariel, because they can't destroy the heart of Lorcan, um, takes it up to the top of the adamantine tower, attaches it to an arrow, fires it from his bow, and launches it into the ocean, which becomes the island of Vardenfell, part of the province of Morrowind. And the Red Mountain grows up around it and becomes the second tower. Then the third tower was created off the shores of Somerset, where after the convention, the power, because of the convention itself, the world of the Elnafay, aka the Aldmeris, falls into the ocean and becomes a new island, which actually is technically a continent. So in the process of this, some of the Elnafay stay with the planet that falls and becomes the continent, and some of the Elnafay sort of fall off in the process and are scattered throughout. The Aldmeris will become the Altmer, the Aliad, and the Falmer, and later on after the Exodus. And the rest of the races of Nirn, with the exception of the beast folk, so those would be the Imga, the ape-like beast folk that like to imitate. Oh shit. The sorry about that. The beast folk that like to imitate the elves, going so far as to wear powdered wigs and shaving all their fur off and powdering their face white and obsessing over magic and things like that. And the Slode, which are a slug-toad race native to the Argonian homeland of Blackmarsh. They don't move much, but they're pretty good at spellcraft. The Argonians themselves, the Khajiit, of which there are several, I guess what you'd call speciations of. There's, because they can look like half cat, half men, which is mostly what you see in Skyrim. Or they can look like half men, half cat, so that would be the Neko girl sort of ones. There is, I forget what they're called, but they're basically sentient house cats. Those are also Khajiit. And then there's one kind of Khajiit that is born once every, I think, 1,000 years, and it has to do with a planetary and lunar configuration within a certain time period. So the alignment might happen, but it won't be, let's say, I think it's like summer, for example. So it does actually have to do with planetary rotation, and those are called the main. And of course your were crocodiles, your were bears, your werewolves, etc. The vampire do not count, and the Orsimer, aka orcs, do not count as beast folk, although sometimes they're referred to as such because beast is sort of a vague term for not human or elf. So I think that's it. Is there any? Oh yeah, I forgot the snake people of Akavir, the Tiseki or the Tisheki. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. That nearly wiped out all of the Akavir. Before they, I mean, they didn't wipe out the Akavir. Technically, the last Akavir to die went to, I think they went to Ikuta and then kicked it, and the Red Guard sort of adopted some of their bullshit religion or whatever. So, anyway, so there are 8 towers, and their power basically helps separate the realms of Oblivion, Mundus, Aetherius, and Nirn from one another so that they can't be infiltrated. Now, the Altmer, descendants of the Almeri after they had their Great War, the Altmer believed that if you sever the connection of the physical body of Nirn from Mundus by destroying or disabling these towers, then the Altmer themselves become what they were before, which are direct descendants of the Aedra, the offspring of the Aedra. I don't know when they had time from creation to from the planning of creation to creation to procreate and have a bunch of children, but I guess they did. But they believe that if they sever that, they can become God. That link, they can become gods again. They can return to their Aedric spiritual forms. And the way that they're going to do that is they're going to destroy reality and destroy the laws of the govern, like basically what you'd call the laws of physics, by destroying these towers and thus destroying the whole world. And the Aldmeri Dominion is actually run by the Thalmor since the end of the Merithic era, where the planet of Elnofe fell to Nirn into the ocean. So the Thalmor are actually an ancient secret group, basically a cult, doomsday cult that want to get revenge on the workers of iniquity, aka the other mortal races that aren't aligned with them, who are comfortable and like their mortality, and especially humans who they see as responsible because they are technically direct descendants of the trickster god Lorcan, who tricked the Aedra in the first place into doing so. Now, during creation, there were a group of other Aedra that managed to escape. They're called the Magna Gi, and the tiny stars you see in the sky are actually supposedly punches in they're holes in Aetherius that are letting through light to the Aedric realm where they come from. And the sun, which is called Magnus, named after the spirit that I guess you would call it. It's not an Aedra, but it's sort of an Aedra. Magnus, it's the hole that he punched behind, and of course, because he punched such a large hole, his sphere of influence is associated with magic. Let me see if I can find what the fuck I'm looking for. Conjure Atronach Trail. That's up here. Here we go. Also, Akatosh is one of the only Aedra to escape. So that's why he has the ability to close Oblivion gates permanently and indefinitely. That's why he has the ability to... Oh, those stayed as well. Neat. that's why his artifacts has the ability to change the fabric of reality. That's why his children, the dragons, is direct creation anyway. The dragons have such ridiculous abilities and stuff, and why they can shape the nature of reality with their voice. So it's all beginning to make sense now. So the Thalmor basically want the Empire divided. So if you go to the Thalmor embassy and you have a look around, you'll find. Oh, I'm being shut down. Whoopsie dupsie.